Welcome to the second day of our Aguinaldo reflections. For today, we will be reflecting on stewards as disciples. I think you're already familiar with the banner for this year, which is stewardship and family. And for the second day, we will be looking into some specifics about how is it to be a steward. Yesterday, we have already defined the attitude of a steward, which I would like to review. First, a steward is the one who receives God's gift gracefully and gratefully. Second, the steward cherishes and tends God's gift responsibly, shares God's gift in love and justice. And fourth, returns God's gift with increase. Now, how do we live that attitude and spirituality specifically? And so, for today, we will look at the steward in terms of his discipleship. As members of the body of Christ, Jesus called us to be his disciples. And we know that a disciple is someone who follows the master. He is a learner. He is a student. So, if we consider ourselves to be disciples of the Lord, it tells us, it shows that we are students of the Lord. As disciples, we have to have this decision to follow Jesus no matter what the cost. And many of the stories about discipleship, like Paul, like Peter, and other saints, there's one important element there. And what is that element? Their encounter with Jesus is life-changing. And that life-changing change of mind and heart made them to commit to God, to serve God. So, at the very start, we cannot really claim to be disciples. We cannot really say that we are true disciples of the Lord if we will not have that life-changing encounter. Because discipleship demands a lot. It's very demanding, and there are many things that you have to give up in order to become true disciples of Jesus. So, our maturity in the discipleship is to make a choice. And what is the choice? Well, it depends on how God reveals himself to you. But in the sense of stewardship, in the ambit of stewardship, it is now to recognize that God, as the origin of life, is the giver of freedom and the source of all. And because of that, we are grateful of the gifts that we receive. So, how do we respond now? In the gospel for today, you find out there the long list of the forefathers and foremothers of Jesus Christ. It's the genealogy actually today. We read the genealogy from Matthew. In that long list of men and women as the ancestors of the Lord, they are actually there precisely because they became recipients of God's gift. They are recipients of the grace of God. And as I said, a steward would always return the gift after receiving it. He will return it to the Lord with increase. Now, let us look at the first one in the list, Abraham. Abraham was the man of faith. He was the first one to receive the call to follow the one God, the God of Israel. And look at what happened. As I said, to be a disciple demands a lot. And Abraham paid a lot. How? By leaving behind his father's land, his father, and the people that he is familiar with, in order to go to a land that is still unknown, a land that is still to be shown by the Lord, with all the uncertainties that it brings. Another name, we don't want to really go into the entire genealogy, but a very important person also in the list is Joseph, the husband of Mary. Joseph received a gift of faith. Why? Because he is to be the foster father of the son of Mary. Of course, at the start, he doubted a little, or rather, he questioned. That's why in the story, we know, in the coming days, we will about the story, that he doubted about the integrity of Mary. And so, although he doesn't want to make a public scandal because he was a righteous man, so he planned to leave Mary secretly. But still, when he received the annunciation of the angel, Joseph paid the price of discipleship. And what is that? To let go of his bias or maybe doubts, and to receive and safeguard Jesus as the son of Mary and his foster son. So those two men, Abraham and Joseph, represents for us the way by which God demands, or rather, if I may say, shows to us the response, the true response of a disciple. It is not easy, but they know that they have received a gift. In the case of Abraham, the faith. In the case of Joseph, Jesus, the Son of God. And they safeguarded the faith and Jesus in their hearts and in their actions, to the point that it has to change also their lives. Abraham has to leave Ur of the Chaldees in order to go to a land that is still unknown. It changed his life. Joseph, who is about to marry the virgin called Mary, but knowing that she already is carrying a child, has to change his own perspectives of what it is to be a husband to a woman, and how to take care for a child that is not his own. It changed him. So, both Abraham and Joseph experienced the Lord, which changed their lives. And their response is a response of commitment to these life-changing events in their lives, taking care of the gift that they have received. So, my dear brothers and sisters, for the second day, stewards as disciples, that's one thing that is very important. The call and the response. The response may be demanding. It is difficult. It's not easy. Both the call and the response are life-changing. But we know that in all this, God's love is there. So my dear friends, have a lovely day.